No, we do not see your face, but don't worry about it
I don't understand.
because we are now live. We are now live. Today is September. I always have to look over here to my calendar. I'm not ignoring the camera. I'm looking over here at my calendar, which tells me today is September 22nd, and I understand it is the first day of fall 2021. Now, you're going to notice if you're looking on the screen, we got a few technical issues today, but Sherry is on the road coming back from visiting her wonderful grandson. And so she's having some visual issues. So sometimes you're going to see her beautiful faces, and other times you're going to see it looks like she's our secret hidden guest. No, don't worry about that. It is definitely Sherry behind the curtain. Let's get started. I am Terry Ann Porter, life coach TA. It is time to start defeating those lies of negative self-talk by changing your perspective, which allows you to see possibilities, opening up pathways onto which you can choose to proceed in truth. My co-host, even if you can't see her, and by the way, tomorrow is her birthday, Sherry Berger. Sherry, welcome.
Hey, yeah, I got on early so that we could test this, and I could, but Terry Ann says if I'm in one place, I can be seen. If not, I don't even know. So I don't think we did enough testing before we went live. Don't want to apologize for that, but I did get on. I just didn't know that you couldn't see me. But anyway, I am Sherry Berger, and I am the owner of Here to There Consulting, and we educate business owners with the tools to balance life, business, and finances. Terry Ann and conversations with Sherry and Terry Ann. Again, I am in the car and I did get on early to test. I don't know why. Can you see me now, Terry Ann?
Now I can see you. Now we see you. You're a little blurred, but we see your beautiful
so
face.
I'm going.
Yes.
I was trying to hold the camera in the correct place, but I guess.
Hey, don't worry about it. This is technology. As long as we're here talking, that's all that matters. We're just having a conversation. Oh, I wonder if that's why we call it Conversations with Sherry and Terry Ann. Anyway, our topic today is putting your why into action. Now, last week, we talked about finding your why. Why is your goal so important to you? Sherry, why was it so important to you to become a coach and to cover, especially, is it 7 areas, I believe?
No, I did not. My why for becoming a coach was I fell into coaching. I fell into consulting. When you're really, really good at something and you're just a natural at it, you can fall right into what you need to be doing and God's calling. So sometimes if you watch all those extra things that you've done in your life over time, and then you realize what your toolbox is and how you end up in where God puts you. So yes, it's a long story short, but yes, I was working as system analyst for Sprint. For the typical what all moms do, right? We do whatever we got to do to survive. So I adjunct at JUCO and adjunct at Brown Mackey, and so I taught classes and did conversions, did all kinds of things like that. And then I realized what I really, really enjoyed doing was consulting and coaching. And so, yes, today I do consulting and coaching, and I'm really big about work-life balance and very, very big about making sure that your why for what you do in your life is the same, aligns with your why that in your business. And actually, that's chapter 2 of my book that will soon be coming out. Should be coming out at the end of the year or the first of the year. So yes.
How exciting. Very exciting. Very exciting. That is the thing. Once you determine your why, okay, I know what I want to do and I know why I want to do it. But now, how do I get going? What are some ways?
I think I lost you.
Oh, no, you're still with us. You're still with us. We're still with you.
Hello.
We're having technical issues today, as you can see, but that doesn't stop the message of what we're talking about today. And that is putting your why into action. Did any of you use the worksheet that I provided last week, where you kind of dug down into why that is important to you? Well, now that you've found your why, what are some things to remind you of your why? Now, a lot of people I've seen, I've worked administration type things where I've been basically sitting at a desk for much of my life. And a lot of people put pictures of their children, of their family, of their dreams all around their computer screen. Why? So they can always see what is important to them.
Okay, Terry Ann, you didn't give us your why for going into coaching. You had me tell my why.
Oh, my why? I got into coaching. Actually, I kind of just slipped into it. I had stopped corporate work because of extreme back pain and just spent a lot of time just sitting, laying down, trying to get comfortable. But people would talk to me. And my husband suggested coaching one day. And I said, oh, I don't know. So he told me about somebody that he followed online. And I started following somebody online and started thinking, I think I could do that. Because no matter how bad I hurt, I can stop for 30 minutes and focus on somebody else, take the focus off of me and my pain, focus on them, and help to change my perspective. So changing my perspective opened up the possibilities, and the pathway came about. When I first started taking my coaching classes, I was on some very high opioids. I used to say I couldn't think my way out of a wet paper bag, even if it was open at the top. So I used the coaching techniques to coach myself off of those opioids. And I just started reaching out and changing the way that I listened and that I spoke to people. So that was my why, to give me some relief. So now the question is, how do we take our why and put it into action? I've got another worksheet for you, something to think about. In order to pursue your why, what are you going to stop doing? Or maybe what do you need to do less of? For example, I want to lose weight. What do I need to stop doing? I need to stop going to Dairy Queen every day. I mean, those Reese's cookie dough blasts are really, really good, but not every day. So maybe I need to stop doing it every day. What do I need to do less of? Well, I probably need to do less of watching TV and playing video games. What do I need to keep doing?
It's all about replacing those habits that you're already doing and deciding which ones are good and which ones are getting you to where your goals and where you want to be, and which ones are maybe getting in the way of where you are trying to go. And so you're talking about watching less TV, things like that. And that would be where, if we're time blocking, then where do we time block in if we want to watch TV? Or do we want to time block in more of what's trying to get us results to get to what our goal is or our why? So that's the ultimate thing. And like you said, losing weight, eating less Dairy Queen, but maybe moving more. But then we would have to actually schedule in when we're planning our more healthy meals, because a lot of times we don't take the time to plan the healthy meal. So we end up at Burger King or Dairy Queen or McDonald's or eating out or whatever we end up doing that's not healthy. And if we know that we need to plan time to prep meals, time to walk, so that's what you're talking about, is replacing some of your habits that are not getting you where you want to go into the habits that are getting you where you want to go. So if you actually start, like you said, looking what you do throughout the day and figuring out, are they getting you to where you want to be, or are they taking you further away from your goal? So that's exactly what you're talking about with that worksheet. So
absolutely. And I like the time blocking idea.
Real important.
I like the time blocking idea. Sometimes if you pay attention, paying attention to what you do. Now, Sherry, do you ever start out, first of all, in preparing for time blocking? Have you ever sat down and kind of documented everything you did throughout a day?
That's what I just said. If you document everything you do without the day, then you can start saying, is that getting me closer to my goals or is it taking me further away? So if you do that for about a week, and then also, of course, work it in your time blocking and say, oh, wait, this isn't helping me get closer to my goals. So I know people that actually do all their prepping for meals. Like, that's a good idea on Sunday. So they're prepped for the whole week. So they already have it planned out. Right? So if you don't plan, then you plan to fail. But if you plan, then you could plan to be successful in whatever that goal or area, that you're working on is. So yes, but take about a week and literally write down everything you're doing throughout the day, just so you could realize. And it's sort of like with Toastmasters, you know how you don't want to and ah, because we've learned don't and ah. Well, if you realize how many times a week you're eating out, or how many times a week you're making an excuse instead of getting up and moving, or how many times a week you're not doing whatever that is, or you are doing something that's taking you away from where you want to be. So, but make sure that you give yourself stars, right? And give yourself awards for when you're doing. Oh my goodness, this week I walked 4 times. Last week I only walked 2 times. This week I only ate out 1 time a week. Last week I ate 3 times, to look at those too.
Yeah, celebrate those small successes along the way as you notice them. That it kind of highlights that into your life and then reminds you, hey, okay, I'm not where I want to be, but I'm further down the road than I used to be. So the small successes, you need to celebrate those and verbalize them. Even nobody else wants to celebrate with you. Celebrate yourself. Hey, I did this. Now, I tell you, you talked about writing down everything you do throughout the day just to kind of learn what your habits are, because we do so many things unconsciously. Well, I'm trying right now in trying to eat better and lose weight. One thing I'm doing right now is documenting everything I eat. I got to tell you, there are times I will not eat something because I don't want to write it down.
That's the whole point in doing that, right? You should document everything you eat. You should be documenting everything, all the water that you drink, because then all of a sudden you're going to want to drink more water, and how much movement you're doing throughout the day. I ran up and down the stairs this morning, or I walked around the block, and then this afternoon I did it again. Those type things, and watch your results happen. So yeah, and they will not. If you have to write down that I watched 2 hours of TV, you're not going to want to watch 2 hours of TV because you'll be embarrassed that you had to write that down. Not that that's always bad though, because maybe you're watching a movie or binge watching on purpose though, right?
Right.
Just doing it because you were bored.
Right.
Even if you start writing down, like if you say your family's important, write down, did you go on a date night this week? Did you, have a cup of coffee with that person that you said was important?
Right.
And then even making the phone calls, if you need to make phone calls to follow up with clients. Did you do that this week? So those accountabilities from writing down where you're at and what you do. And then see, oh my gosh, if I wouldn't have watched 2 hours of TV, or if I wouldn't have eaten 3 Snicker bars this last week, I'd be further close to where I want to be. Right. Or if I didn't make an excuse that I didn't just want to walk around the hallway or go up and down the stairs, however many times you're supposed to do that, get moving. But I hurt, so I didn't want to move. Well, you probably hurt because you didn't move. So there's a pro,
Right.
Too much movement, depending on your health, could hurt you, but too much sitting can hurt you as well. So look at all those.
And that's the thing. And in writing it down, who are you accountable to? A lot of times when you write it down, you're mostly accountable to yourself. And sometimes that's the hardest person to have to face. I don't want to write this down because if other people saw what I was doing, well, other people aren't going to read this. You're the only one reading it. But that means that, it's you. That's who you are seeing in the mirror. what was that old Michael Jackson song, The Man in the Mirror? You know, that's the one person you can't get away from. That's the one person that you really can't lie to, because that person knows you're lying. Oh, you didn't write down those 3 Snicker bars. Doesn't mean you didn't eat it. Doesn't mean I don't know that you ate it. That writing down can be scary, but it can also be very encouraging, even if you're only accountable to yourself. But accountability partners are very important. And I think, especially if you want to make changes, find someone that you trust that will hold you accountable, that will say, okay, Sherry, I'm not buying that. I know that you did it. It's not, I'm not berating you for it, but what are you going to do so you don't do it again?
And getting a coach or a mentor, or, for businesses, I have 3 mastermind groups, which is great because we're in groups of 10. I run masterminds. And we have about 10 people in that group. And it's great when you talk to other fellow business people and you have a coach like me in that group, right?
Right.
So that we're all holding each other accountable and coming up with ideas of, I got overwhelmed because I was trying to do X, Y, Z. And then other people letting you know, well, when I got overwhelmed with X, Y, Z, I did, or I didn't do. And so that's a good way to hold accountable as well.
Yeah, and those mastermind groups, I've been involved in those. You go the first week and say, well, I know I told you all I was going to do this, but I didn't do it. You go back the second week, the third week, I didn't do it. And then they're all going to say, wait a minute. There's somebody to remind you, how important was this? Because it's sometimes easy to forget your why.
Well, yeah, and how important was it? Or were there obstacles in the way of trying to get it? What were the reasons? They're not always, it's not how important it was, the obstacles. And did you figure out a way around those obstacles? So
that's true.
And who else do we have on here today, Terry Ann? What are other people's whys and what actions do they take?
No one's stepping up with their whys and their actions and putting it in. I would love, you want to join in the conversation, you're welcome to.
Well, and see, my biggest why, right?
The comments.
My biggest why is to make a difference in other people's life. And I do that with my business too, because I make a difference in businesses to help you create the life and business that you deserve. So right now, like I am driving back from seeing my grandson and being up with his baptism and doing all that. And that's about creating life-work balance, creating the life and business that you deserve, making sure that you have time for important events or important people.
How many people say my family is most important to me, but then they're never available for those family events? So it's great. I love that you've been able to balance this out. You can keep working. And look what technology has allowed us to do. Sherry's in her car right now. Thanks to some of the new advances in technology, she can join in this conversation while traveling back. That is just amazing. It's an amazing opportunity that we don't want to forget. What opportunities are out there for you to make your why happen? It may not be just exactly this, and this. So what other things are out there that you can start to take advantage of to make your why happen?
And technology can be difficult. You need to sometimes do more testing. Like this morning, should have worried more about where the camera was. I didn't realize you couldn't see me. It's hard for me to know that. But doing more testing at times. But it also, in the pandemic, through this pandemic, we've used technology a lot more. So we've realized that we can be multiple places at once and still, be on conversations or still be where we need to be at the time, which is a great way to meet your goals and get where you need to be, even with being there with your family, things like that. So.
How I did some research recently, and it was very interesting to find out how many small businesses were started during 2020.
Yes,
people were finding ways. They were finding ways to work around being at home, being with their family, and still able to pursue something. Sometimes, how many meetings of Zoom type meetings have you been in where a kid pops their head in and sees themselves on the screen and is popping their heads in and looking around and oh, hey, mom, hi, just. But what does the person do? They go right along with it, work around it, and so we've learned over this past year how to make these kind of adjustments.
Oh yeah, I've seen lots of kids, a lot of spouses, and a lot of animals in people's
lots of animals.
Calls. Yeah, it's like, okay, here comes the cat. There's the dog. My dog, one of my dogs, if she's having anxiety, you have to put her up on your lap. It may or may not be on the Zoom. This morning, my son and my daughter-in-law are at a conference that you would usually be in person. It's a big pastoring conference. They're both on the call. They're at their house, and I heard that little Simon's probably going to make appearance because there's nobody there, like grandma, the babysitter coming, like at 10. But my point is, there's those small segments where you don't have a choice but to show up with your baby, but you're still there. You're still at the event at Zoom. And the good news is you got mute. And the good news is you can walk in the other room and turn off your video and change diapers and nurse and whatever you got to do. So,
right.
I mean, there's been pros and cons with this pandemic. But if this has not made you get really, really stronger in your why, I don't know what's going to get you stronger in your why. Told everybody that I know that God has me right where right where I should be. And the way is, so many small to mid-sized businesses have started, I guess, but there's also quite a few that have struggled. And I was able to be there, help them, come up with, 7-day challenges. I have done webinars. I have done masterminds. I've, done whatever I needed to do to help you move your business from here to there. And so when I'm doing that, I was like, oh my goodness, I know I'm exactly where I need to be and making a bigger impact. And I don't know about you, Terry Ann, but I already had other clients from other states, but now I even have more clients from other states because there's more, you can do more. And so it's the way you look at things. Can you do more or can you do less than where you're at? And so if you're where you need to be, you're going to find, your business is just going to pick up, but you need to be taking those action steps. What action steps have you taken that have really helped your business take off this last year and a half?
This last year and a half, I've become more comfortable with the camera, starting to do more video comments because I'm finding sometimes people don't necessarily want to read text. They want to see. So I'm trying to make personal connections through videos, through lives, things like that, using my voice and contacts such as this, online, more blogging, doing more networking online. Yep. I've done more networking thanks to doing it online than I did in person beforehand, because sometimes it's very hard to get to all the different places. And now I can jump off of one right into another, no drive time, no stoplights. I don't have to sit at those red lights going, oh my gosh, when is this light ever going to change? Just flip over, a few more clicks on the keyboard, and I'm someplace else.
See, when you're doing that, then you see the results, right? Your business probably has just overly grown over this last year and a half. So a lot of people are like, oh, my business isn't growing. And I'm like, okay, well, what action steps do you need to take so that your business is growing and flourishing? And if those action steps are important. And if those are working, right, So sometimes you got to
Right.
say, I'm going to all these networking things and I can go to a lot of networking things. That's great. But are you getting the results? Are you getting clients from those networking?
Mhm.
Or do you need to be networking elsewhere? Do you need to be doing it in a different way? Because, you know, you ought to be getting results. You ought to have what? 5 more clients, 6 more clients out of it. I mean, where are you getting those clients? Where are you getting those results?
Mhm.
That's a good thing to be documenting along the way as well. And building a lot of relationships along the way is always key. So I think we're almost at the top of the hour. What are we talking
So
about next week, Terry Ann?
we are approaching the top of the hour. The main thing I want to point out is action. You can't just put out a shingle or just make a blank statement. I'm going to be successful at. The statement isn't enough. You have to take action. What are you doing to make that happen?
And
So
changing
next week,
small habits along the way is a huge action step to be taking. But next week is what?
next week, we've been talking today about our action steps, you know, putting it into action. So next week, let's go ahead and talk about how to put it into action. How do you get started? Okay, I've got this list of things I need to stop doing. I need to keep doing. I need to start doing. But again, it's written down. It's in your head. How do we put it into action? And so that's next week. How to get started.
Well, that'll be great. We talked about some of that today, and we can go in a little bit further detail next week. And I will look forward to seeing everybody next week. And I will actually be in my office in person at that point. Have a good one. Make it a great day.
Before we leave, hey, everybody, tomorrow's Sherry's birthday. Send her some birthday love through Facebook. Bye, everyone. We'll see you next week talking about how, or the question next week actually is, why not start now? So, see you next week. Bye.
Bye.